A super duper rare, wild, crazy, weird, odd, strange weather pattern is going to take hold and change the weather in ways you've never seen. Massive changes are coming. Does that sound right? I don't think so. It's a typical spring pattern, folks. We're going to see up and down with temperatures, and we're going to see a return to severe weather, and that is going to be the big story as we get into the work week. We've had a nice little break from that. It's Sunday morning, and it is the 13th of April, and we're going to talk about what's coming up for the course of the work week. I just wanted to do a quick video this morning. We'll return to our normal Cold Rains Weather World segment starting tomorrow. But I wanted to get a quick video out before church this morning and just give you a heads up about what's coming. And really, as I said, the big story is the severe weather that is making a return to the picture starting tomorrow. And you can see on the screen a slight risk for the upper Ohio Valley and parts of the Appalachian Mountains here, with a small tornado threat, predominantly a wind threat, and a hail threat. We're looking at an area here with 15% chance at most as of right now for hail and wind, 5% tornado. And what's going on is in the upper levels of the atmosphere in the jet stream, really in the mid levels of the atmosphere rather, there's a pretty strong little jet streak that's coming in. As you can see this develop over the course of this afternoon into tonight, tomorrow morning, and into tomorrow afternoon. Look at this as we put this into motion. You can see this jet kind of coming in here and strengthening, providing broad lift across, the area that was highlighted in the SPC's outlook. And that's going to lift the atmosphere. The question marks abound around the temperature recovery. We're going to get some dew points up in here, but how warm will it get? There's some model discrepancy with both the longer range and the medium range and the short range models. And so some models keep it cool in the 50s and others bring the temperature up into the 60s and 70s. And if we can get 60s and 70s, we may actually see an upgrade to that area. But this jet's going to come in and it's going to help organize some of that convection into supercells. And we could see a few long track supercells as well. They'll be fast moving. Taking a look at the dew points, you can see here dew points coming in tomorrow afternoon, bringing dew points upper 50s and around 60 or so in here into the area that we're looking at. So that should provide enough moisture. If we can get the temperatures up, we'll have good mixed layer CAPE on the order of about 1,000 joules per kilogram. Set the stage for a little bit of a severe weather event here in the area that we saw. We're going to continue to watch the short range guidance come in over the course of the afternoon and overnight, and we'll pay attention to those temperature outlooks. And if everybody converges on warmer temperatures for this area tomorrow, then we're going to have to maybe take a look at an upgrade to potentially a moderate. But right now it's a slight risk, a level 2 out of 5. And so just wanted to give you a heads up. Pay attention tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Here's temperature profile. Here's kind of what I was showing you. This is the WRF. It's showing temperatures into the 70s, near 80 in some spots in the area that's highlighted. And FV3, on the other hand, keeps temperatures down into the 60s, and some models keep them a little bit lower than this. So a lot of discrepancy still, so we're going to have to pay attention to that. Now, as we go on through the week, taking a look at thunderstorm outlook for Tuesday, just some general thunderstorm activity around the Four Corners region up here in the San Joaquin Valley and off the East Coast. Cold front's going to come through tomorrow and bring temperatures back, or rather on through the day on Tuesday, drop temperatures back in the east, and you'll see that reflected as a little bit of activity along the head of that front could pop up here in the coastal sections of North and South Carolina, but nothing looking severe at that time. Now, as we get on into the day Thursday, Wednesday looks okay. See D4, not much going on. We start to get into Thursday toward the end of the week. We see severe weather pop back up. And the reason for that is we've got a low pressure that's going to develop out here in the plains again. That's going to provide some lift, some moisture return out ahead of that, is going to set the stage for instability to begin to rebound and create a little bit of a warm sector. And so as we get on into the end of the week, Thursday and Friday, you can start to see an expansive area of potential severe weather risk. Saturday and Sunday right now, there's nothing, but it would not surprise me as we get through the week to start seeing additional risk areas pop up, because we're going to get back into a pattern that features warm temperatures, return moisture out of the Gulf, and a jet stream pattern that's going to be bringing energy into the states again. So our active pattern looks to be coming back, And as we get on into the end of April into May, we're probably going to start seeing more in the way of severe risk after a nice, 5 or 6 day break that we've had. Looking at how that plays out on the surface map, let's go to here. We can see, so this afternoon, a little bit of shower activity kind of moving across the border, rain up here in the northeast with that low pressure. You guys have had some snow up here, and now it's really warming up a little bit to turn most of that into rain. Some showers across the Great Lakes up in here in the Four Corners region. We bring this on into motion a little bit. You can see everything starts to pull out by tomorrow up in the northeast. Showers moving along the border. And so just some general activity, maybe a little bit of snow sneaking in up here in Minnesota and into the northern Great Lakes area as we get through tomorrow afternoon. And you can see this little area here in the Ohio Valley start to blossom a little bit as we get into tomorrow afternoon. The European likes temperatures a little bit warmer, so it's showing some little bit of severe weather here. Let's bring that down a little bit. So there we go. We head on into tomorrow evening, into the overnight. That activity pushes on to the east and dies off. It's associated with a little bit of a cold front trailing from this storm that's above the Great Lakes up here in Canada. We'll roll this on forward just through the rest of the week so you can see Tuesday afternoon, not much going on outside of the northeast, little rain creeping back in with this system. That little system back here, this is the general thunderstorm activity along the coastal sections, not much doing otherwise in the country. Should be a nice Tuesday. Into Wednesday afternoon, a little bit of snow hanging back on in some parts of New England, just kind of in the wake of that system. And then as we get into Thursday, we start to see another low pressure take shape out here in the high plains area. Out ahead of this, we start to see a little bit of thunderstorm activity return to the picture. 994 low. Snow up here in Montana in the higher elevations and some of the mountain ranges out here, the Bighorns, the Rockies. You're going to see a little bit of snow, the Bitterroots. Going to see some snow return to the forecast, and pushing on off into Thursday night into Friday. You can see this little area of convection here moving into through the plains in the heartland Midwest area. And then as we get into Friday, we start to see storms fire along the front up here in the northern Ohio Valley back into the mid-Mississippi River Valley into the lower plains. And that's where that risk was highlighted on Friday overnight. So look at that, see, right in conjunction with that. So that's what the SPC was looking at. As we get on into Saturday, that front pushes south into Saturday night into Sunday. And so we could see a little bit of a risk of severe weather here. And then next week, another system develops. So we're back into an active pattern, and you can see these systems kind of come through. And we'll stop it here, but just know, well, I'll just run it forward just so you can kind of see the pattern. As we go on through the next 10 to 15 days, activities pushing in. We're going to see various storm systems develop. Waves of energy in the upper levels are going to work on some of this moisture return that's coming out of the Gulf to provide some potential, opportunities for severe weather again. Now, temperatures, as we look through the course of the next week or so, this afternoon, cooler along the East Coast. We're warmer than normal in the plains, a little push of cool air behind that. As we get through tomorrow, it's going to warm up very nicely in areas that were cooler today. So there's another cold front, a little storm system that's providing that severe weather threat. It's going to bring a cold front through behind that, a push of cooler air out of Canada. In the meantime, nice and warm along the East Coast from Monday, highs back up into the 80s to near 90 in the Southeast. And then boom, here we go, back into a cold pattern again for a day and a half or so as we get into Tuesday and to Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're going to see a return flow set up. Warm air in the plains, setting the stage for potentially some severe weather again as we head into Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Nice and warm along the East Coast into Saturday afternoon. A little bit of push of cool air coming in for the weekend up north, but the south will stay warm. Desert Southwest may begin to cool down for a little bit. But that is your temperature kind of anomaly map. Looking at the actual high temperatures, cool up north, 30s into 40s, 50s, and 60s along into the southeast. So a little bit cooler than normal today. Warming up in the plains, 100 near the border. 60s and 70s all the way up into the mid-high plains, the mid section of the country up into the northern high plains, and then 30s and 40s up in the northwest, chill, a little warmer along the coast there. As we go into Monday afternoon, 60s and 70s, the norm across much of the eastern section of the country. As a matter of fact, I think the European might be a little bit. I don't know. It might be a little bit too low with some of the temperatures down here in the southeast. We might actually warm up a little bit more than that. But warm across the south, cool across the north. And as we get into Tuesday afternoon, that front's pushing through. It's beginning to cool back down in the north 30s, 40s, 50s, and ahead of that front, it's going to get up into the 60s, 70s, but it'll cool down behind it. Very warm back over in the west, 60s and 70s everywhere, 80s and 90s down toward the border. Wednesday afternoon, cool front pushes through and we chill out in the northeast and toward the south again, cool, warming back up in the plains, cool along the west coast. And that begins to, we start to see this warm air really surge in as we get toward the end of the week. Friday, big warm sector. So as we get into the weekend, we're going to have to watch for severe weather threat out here over across the eastern parts of the country as that cold front kind of moves in, a little chillier behind that. So that's your week ahead, folks. Just hopefully it gives you a good idea. Obviously, temperatures can fluctuate and things can change as we start to get 5-6 days out. So, pay attention to those kinds of things. But that's your general temperature pattern over the course of the week. Severe weather threat again is Monday. And again, on Thursday and Friday, that's when we're looking at the best chances of severe weather this week and maybe into next weekend too. So we'll monitor that as we go forward. But that's your update for today. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Much of the country outside of, say, the northeast, the northern tier, maybe the Four Corners region, outside of those areas should have a nice Sunday afternoon with warm temperatures across the central part of the South. Still a little bit chilly in the southeast, but enjoy your Sunday afternoon, folks. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be back again tomorrow with a full Cold Rains weather world with Weather IQ and some other weather items like your volcano update and earthquake update. So stay tuned for that. Hope you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.